Welcome to the continued coverage of the Axiom 3 mission, also known as AX3. We're moments away from hearing from the first all-European crew live on orbit. This 4-person crew, that is just the beginning of their 2 weeks on orbit with up to 14 days docked to the International Space Station. I'm John Rackham, Spacesuit Ventilation and Loop Lead for Axiom Space, based out of Houston, Texas.
And I'm Kate Tice, Quality Systems Engineering Manager here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Now, for those of you that weren't able to catch the launch broadcast, the AX3 crew has been in orbit for almost an hour and a half at this point. And in that time, they have taken off or doffed their spacesuits. That allowed them to get a little bit more comfortable for this phase of the flight. They were also able to check in with our flight surgeon, our medical team, to do their private astronaut screening, just to make sure that everybody's feeling good. And good news, they are. Dragon also completed the phase burn, which is the first of 5 major burns required to raise Dragon's orbit and position it for approach to the International Space Station. So all in all, everything is looking really good as we are now T plus 1 hour and 28 minutes into the mission. The crew is currently traveling 17,500 miles per hour, which of course is the velocity they need to go in order to catch up to the station. And they are completing an orbit about every 90 minutes. So they are now coming up onto their second orbit. And I mean, if I were them, I would just be plastered to the window.
Yeah, just looking at everything below you, enjoying the ride, and just enjoying the experience, right?
Exactly.
This is the first time for so many of them. They're going to enjoy that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, as we mentioned in the launch broadcast, it's about 36 hours for them to rendezvous or catch up and meet the International Space Station. A lot of that is, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but in terms of everything is very calculated and choreographed with spaceflight, including this approach to the ISS. That 36-hour period is partially determined by crew schedule on the International Space Station itself and their availability to welcome the AX3 crew as well as orbital mechanics. So, but let's do a quick recap of where we are today. Earlier, we saw them lift off at 4:49 p.m. Eastern Time. There we see the AX3 crew about to, there we go, engines ignite. They are on a mission dedicated to expanding access to low Earth orbit for all. They lifted off aboard SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft from historic Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
God, that's a beautiful site, isn't it?
It is. And, you know, that's such an important launch site because that's where humans first went to the moon from.
Exactly. So this crew still has over 30 hours to go before docking with the International Space Station. And in a moment, we are hoping to hear directly from them about their first hour in microgravity, and we are eager to share that with you. So while we wait for the crew to reach the best position for a clear signal from Dragon, let's take a moment to introduce them. First up, the commander of our flight today, Michael Lopez Alegria, or MLA, is no stranger to Axiom missions, Crew Dragon, or the space station itself. AX3 marks his 6th mission to space, having completed 3 space shuttle flights and a Soyuz mission as a NASA astronaut prior to commanding AX1 with Axiom Space. Now today, when not in low Earth orbit, MLA serves as Axiom Space's chief astronaut.
Our pilot on today's flight, Colonel Walter Villadei, is from the Italian Air Force, and he's taking his inaugural trip to low Earth orbit. Villadei currently serves in the Italian Air Force and as head of the Italian Air Force's representative office in the United States. He has completed cosmonaut training as a space engineer, participated in multiple analog training missions, and flown a variety of aircraft in missions as an active flight engineer in the Italian Air Force.
Our third crew member today is mission specialist Alper Izirace. Today, Alper has become the first Turkish astronaut to go to space. With 15 years of experience across a myriad of aircraft for the Turkish Air Force, Izirace got his start in the Air Force Academy in Istanbul, Turkey, and earned a master's degree from the U.S. Air Force Institute of Technology. He then spent a number of years flying as a commercial airline captain before returning to duty in the Turkish Air Force.
And finally, we have mission specialist Marcus Want, a lieutenant colonel in the Swedish Air Force. In November of 2022, Marcus was selected by the European Space Agency, or ESA, as an astronaut reserve. However, with this mission, AX3, he becomes the first project astronaut in ESA's history, a new designation within their ranks. So as you can tell from those intros, it's an incredible crew. They are all so well prepared and trained and experienced. Like they're coming to this mission with years and years of flight time under their belts and representing all of their nations incredibly proudly.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a significant aspect of this flight. This is the first all-European crew that we're seeing go to the International Space Station. And like you mentioned, the pedigree that they're bringing to that flight is incredibly impressive, right? And it's another aspect of how we're showing that to open up low Earth orbit, you've got to be prepared, but we want that door to be open. And this crew really represents that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, the training that they've gone through has been rigorous. It's over 100 modules here at SpaceX, as well as training with Axiom and with NASA. So it's been a road to get here, but they're in space now.
Exactly, exactly. And now more of those countries, we want to get to orbit. We want more access. We want more kinds of astronauts. And as humanity expands beyond Earth, we want more than just a select few countries to be represented as well. You know, these private astronaut missions really are critical steps in the development of this sustained LEO presence, and we're all playing a part in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It requires precise and tight coordination. Everything from the launch countdown to even the things that they're doing in space. We have these, what we call them EPROCs, or electronic procedures, and support teams here on the ground, as well as the crew, using their touchscreen displays and the tablets that they took up with them, are monitoring along those procedures that we are working through. In fact, the crew is actively working through a procedure right now to de-stow the in-flight floater cam. So we, for those of you that have just recently joined, we are standing by for our first opportunity to speak with the crew now that they are on orbit. They've been in space for a little over an hour and a half, and this will be so cool. I'm so excited to hear from them, as many of them are making their first flight.
Yeah, you know, and we were talking a little bit about training and preparation for spaceflight, and you brought up a specific aspect of it, which is just even preparing a camera, right? Something that sounds so simple and mundane is infinitely harder in spaceflight sometimes, and that is part of the training that they go through, right? They spent numerous hours working with Axiom specialists and SMEs, NASA SMEs, SpaceX SMEs, subject matter experts, sorry, to really understand how do we work with these types of tools, because photography and TV is such an important aspect of this. So having that type of coordination and understanding of how these tools work really help us stay in sync to their mission. It helps them stay effective when they're on orbit. That's a really important aspect of the efficiency for these missions.
Yeah, that's the challenge of going to space as an astronaut.
Yeah.
You are the doctor, you are the repair person, you are the photographer. So we're standing by for our first opportunity to chat with the crew on orbit.
Okay, Jake, hey everybody. This is the spaceship Freedom. Here we are above the Earth. We just got in this an hour ago. Amazing ride uphill. I'll let everybody describe what it felt like to each of them. We're very proud to be representing Axiom and our nations here at environment up to the International Space Station, where we hope to continue to contribute to all the science that's been done by all our predecessors. It's a real privilege to fly in space for anybody. It's particularly nice for me. It's the second time on Dragon. The sensations were equally amazing. Acceleration, a little bit of vibration, just a sense that you're going fast. And wow, what a thrill. I couldn't be happier to be here and prouder of my guys that just did a great job all the way uphill and managed to scramble and get ready for this event. So let me pass it over to Colonel Walter Villadei to say hi in Italiano.
Ciao a tutti e benvenuti a bordo della Freedom. It's a privilege to be here, to fly over the Earth, waiting for getting to the ISS. It's a privilege to be this year representing Italy, but also this fantastic operation with other countries, Turkey, Sweden, the US and Spain. So it's been a very nice ride. The vibration and the transition between the first and the second stage was amazingly surprisingly. So it's been a very nice ride so far, and waiting and look forward for having this crew aboard the ISS. So I hand over to my colleagues and friend, Marcus Want.
Thank you, Walter. Hej allihopa, helt underbart att vara i rymden. What a fantastic ride. I have to say, I expected a lot, but I didn't really expect that sensation of acceleration and speed. That was fantastic, pure joy. And getting up here and feeling the microgravity is really weird, and it's also awesome. Just floating around and repositioning yourself wherever you're doing. And I'm so proud of being here and representing Sweden and Europe and riding on this fantastic American spaceship with my friends and crew here. So just pure joy. Fantastic. Thank you.
Türkiye'nin insanlı ilk uzay misyonu için ilk Türk'ün uzaya adım attığı şu anda Yüce Atamızın sözüyle bu ana başlatmak istiyorum. Türkiye Cumhuriyetimizin kurucusu Mustafa Kemal Atatürk'ün dahiyane sözü, istikbal göklerdedir. It was a great start, it was a great feeling starting from the end of the countdown all the way to here, a great ride. It has been a really great feeling as I have been dreaming for so long, immediately being able to fly with our own wings, without a still wing. So it's been really great up until so far. I would like to commemorate all our lost ones in our countries who has really made a great contribution up until so far in our history, and I'm really so privileged and honored to be a part of this great team over here. Thank you so much for everybody who has worked tremendously up until this moment for us to make it this moment.
Thank you, guys. I guess it's pretty obvious, but you just heard from the first Turkish human to fly to space. Congratulations, Alper. We all let out a little bit of a whoop as we passed 100 kilometers, and just the beginning, though. We're going to spend another day and a half or so aboard Freedom. We'll be docking to the ISS sometime around 10 a.m. GMT on Saturday. And we'll begin our 14 days of work. Really looking forward to it. Thought maybe we'd show you the view out the window.
Yeah.
Never mind, it turns out can't really see because it turns out we just floated into darkness on the dark side of the Earth here. But anyway, to all of you, SpaceX, NASA, Axiom, everybody who's been part of this mission, as I said, the Italian Air Force, TÜBİTAK, Turkish Space Agency, Swedish National Space Agency, ESA, all the people who on whose shoulders we ride on this amazing voyage to the ISS. Thank you very much.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the great words. Great event. I am fielding questions from all over. Do you guys have a zero-G indicator?
think that's a wrap, Jake.
Okay, copy. Do you guys have a zero-G indicator you want to introduce to everyone?
She's behaving herself because she was tethered, but hopefully you can see Gigi. Gigi is a collaboration between, or represents a collaboration between Axiom Space and Build-A-Bear. And she is a fifth crew member, and when we got to space, sure enough, turns out she floats, which is proof that we are actually in microgravity, if anybody had any doubt.
There you have it. Thanks for a great media event, AX3. I think we'll call it a wrap there.
Well, that was absolutely amazing, Kate.
So cool.
Yeah, I love that you saw not only the AX3 crew, but the fifth member of the AX3 crew, Gigi. Yeah, it's amazing to think that just only a few hours ago that they were on Earth, and now they're up into orbit. And you saw there, it was never a dull moment. MLA was saying how excited he was. He's a multiple-time flyer, and he's been up there. You could tell in the crew's face, it was palpable, the energy, the excitement they were feeling, and the experience for Alper. It feels so solemn, but at the same time, you can tell they're so excited. So it's absolutely amazing. So looking ahead, as MLA mentioned, docking to the ISS is scheduled as early as 1:19 a.m. Pacific time or 4:19 a.m. Eastern early Saturday morning.
Well, our coverage will end here for now. Be sure to tune back in for our live docking coverage with NASA starting at 11:30 p.m. Pacific, 2:30 a.m. Eastern. And that will be on axiomspace.com, spacex.com, and NASA television. In the meantime, please check out our social media accounts for updates. Thanks for joining us, as always, for this live on-orbit event. And we'll see you again for AX3's arrival at the space station. See you soon.